Hey, what's up guys, this is Kate. So today I'm gonna do the easy preparation series again for Module 13 Business Assurance, aka Auditing. As I said before, you cannot do the easy preparation for Module A, Financial Reporting, and Module D, Taxation, because these two modules really need hard work. You need a lot of effort. Today's easy preparation for auditing is not daily tasks based like I did it for Module B, because it's still about the sense. If you have the sense of auditing, maybe you don't need a week to go through these books. But if you don't have the sense, then I sincerely suggest you to go through the book in details to build your sense of auditing and to get more familiar with the contents of this learning pack. Also, Module 13 is sort of more complicated than Module B because the passing rate is not very high. So I'm gonna go through these books with you together and tell you how to treat each chapter. You can go through with me and label the useful information at the same time. Before we get started, I can show you my labels. It concentrated on this chapter because I labeled all the audit evidence and tasks needed for each accounts, and that's a really important chapter. I will go into details later. And again, I will introduce my background. I majored in accounting in universities, but I didn't go for a job in audit team in Big Four, but I went to banks, so I don't have any experience in auditing. But like I said before, it's about your sense, not really about the experience. So if you have the sense, you can skip a lot of part. And also because I work in the bank, so I don't have a lot of time to prepare for 2 exams at the same time. So I only signed up for Module 13 in that season. And I literally go through all of the learning packs. And I remember I almost go halfway about it and I didn't see any useful information. The book is like blah blah blah, but nothing useful. So I'm gonna help you to go through this learning pack and hope this video can still save you a lot of time in the preparation. So let's get started. I already get into the new QP, so I use the latest learning pack. The book has 13 chapters, and you can see part A and part B is about ethics and corporate governance again, which we already learned in Module B, and it's not really important part in the exams. As I remember, it's like at most 1 sub-questions about it. So you don't even have to look through these 2 chapters, just skip to chapter 3. Chapter 3 is Client and Engagement Acceptance Procedures. I looked through the past papers. Almost every exam has a sub-question about how to engage a new client or ask you about the general procedures. So it's not a big part. You don't have to go get every detail. You don't have to remember anything. You don't even need to go through this chapter. You can just find a practice question and see how it's organized. A referential answer could help you to know every point you should know. So chapter 3 you can skip. Chapter 4, quality control considerations. This chapter is about the quality control procedures of company management. So it's more about the functions of second line, third line of defense. If you know that concept. If you don't know, please check first line, second line, third line of defense, and that's pretty much. You don't have to go through in details like which department has to do what in the control system, won't be questioned in the exam. Chapter 5, Planning and Risk Assessment. So this part we have entered the world of auditing. So previous 4 chapters, bullshit, nonsense. Start from chapter 5. It has some technical terms of auditing, like inherent and control risk, detection risk. They also have an equation among the risks, so you have to know that. And there are also some general methodologies you can go through and see what it's about. There are also some business models, so label it, know what it is. Don't go through every detail, just label it, and done. This is about chapter 5. As I remember, the contents of chapter 5 usually won't be questioned like for a separate sub-question, but you can use this information in like some of the questions, like as an introduction part to some questions, or it asks you to write a memo to a management role or to the client. You can use some of the content like the business model or methodologies as an introduction part. It will make your answers more thorough and maybe get you more points. So this is all about chapter 5. So chapter 6 and chapter 7 is about audit evidence, and each cycle is really important. So you have to know each cycle, like revenue cycle, purchase cycle, each account, what kind of evidence, what kind of tests are needed for each account, each ledgers, or some of the components in the report but not in the balance sheet. For example, the contingent asset liability, what kind of tests, what kind of evidence are needed. You have to go through details, and you don't have to remember it because for each cycle the book has a table about it. It gives you the gives you what kind of assertion, what kind of control, and what kind of tests can be adopted. In the exam, it will not ask you very technology like how many samples you're gonna draw, but it will ask you if I want to test the occurrence of a specific account, what kind of evidence you're gonna check, what kind of tests you're gonna adopt. So if you got the sense, it's really easy. If you don't have such sense, please go through this chapter in detail and label everything you found useful. It is also useful in the exams because if you forget about some of the details, you can quickly check the label and just copy it. Because in the exams, a general description is pretty enough. You don't have to be very case specific. So most of my labels are in this part. I can, as I showed you before. And after chapter 6, the following chapters are not really essentials, not really important. You don't have to go to details, but there are also some chapters that you better to know some of the fundamental logics. In chapter 8, using the work of others is most about using the work of internal audits and maybe some professionals, third parties. It's good to know, but maybe won't appear in the exam. Just a basic understanding is good enough. Chapter 9 is about the actions during audit completion. In the completion period, what kind of events could happen, what kind of actions you should take. This is also sort of important because in the exams will sometimes ask you if I found further evidence in the completion period, what should I do? You can know this and label it. But it is not that important that it will appear everywhere in the exam questions. So yeah, maybe you can go check some of the practice questions under these topics. In chapter 10, auditors reporting, not really important. You have general structure of the reporting, and you can see some of the annual report that contains the audit report is almost the same sentences, just the following data part is different, but the previous paragraph and structures are almost the same, so not important. Chapter 11, group audits, is like if you perform an audit for a large group, how you combine each subsidies. Again, it is good to know, but not really an important part in the exams. So maybe a practice question answer will help you. In chapter 12, other assurance engagement requirements is not about audit, it's about other assurance. It's like engagements other than audits. I can't think of an example right now. Usually won't be questioned in the exams, so label is enough. Okay, don't put too much effort in this part. But as for chapter 13, the computerized business system and controls. Yeah, it's a trend because more technologies are used in every industry, so you'd better to know some basic terms like IT general control and application control. But as for audits, the checking, the tasks are almost the same, so you just know some of the basic terms about what is relevant to IT, and that's pretty enough. After go through this book, again, you may check several past papers and print out the answers to bring it to the exam hall. This is what I did. I believe Module 3 is not very difficult to prepare because it won't take you a lot of effort. Although the passing rate is lower than before, I believe you can still pass the exam if you prepare well and you have the sense of audit. Also, another important point is to write clearly, because maybe you think, yeah, it will just only affect a little bit part, but in practice, I think each grader will grade just one question. So your handwriting is actually affecting several graders. If each grader gives you lower marks, you may fail the exams. This is pretty much about how you prepare for Module 13, Business Assurance. If you find this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel, and I hope you guys can all pass Module 13 Business Assurance.